Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to talk about what might be considered a controversial theme, limitation, and how it can work in our lives in an extremely beneficial way. Today I'm going to talk about the Gate 60, which is all about working within the framework that life has given you. The concept of limitation can get a bad rap. It's considered a bad word to some, and so too can the energy of the Gate 60 because it talks all about limitation. Catchphrases like the sky's the limit were written with the idea that limitation was the bad guy and expansion was the good guy. No one's denying that expansion and pushing yourself to achieve your goals is considered the golden cup in life. But without limitation, there'd be no balance in the world because the journey of nature and the planet we live on is all about expansion and contraction. But while contraction is a natural process, it doesn't mean that everybody likes it. We've seen the devastation that overexpansion can wreak, but it doesn't seem to slow down. Pollution of every kind, loss of habitats, endangered animals, nature scoured and left to waste. The urgency about climate change is on the lips of many people, as years of unimpeded expansion have played havoc with our world. Basically, the world's become a disposable universe, where having more and no limits is always considered better. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the energy of the Gate 60, and it's a slippery kind of energy that has potential to change the world in a very positive way or to destroy it if the shadow side takes over. Located in the root center, the Gate 60 is all about structure, and because it's found on the root center, timing is important. Because when it comes to the root center, it's all about pulses, meaning the energy switches off and the energy switches on. And for that reason, the energy of the root center, or the Gate 60 to be specific, can't be forced. In its most fundamental expression, there's an evolutionary need to have limitation on creation, or what can be termed survival of the fittest. There's no questioning that mutative energy is needed for humanity to evolve. But not all mutation will work or will stand the test of time, so for this reason, anything that is mutative has to prove its worthiness. Because of this, there's going to always be some level of resistance to anything new, because as I said before, there's always this need to keep things as they've always been, or the status quo. When we talk about the Gate 60, we're talking about a specific type of limitation, or like the old saying goes, living within your means. And in the low expression, it's all about clinging to the old ways and basically how things have always been done in the past. This energy can show up as a need to limit everything, to have so much structure in your life that you have no room for change. It's all about holding on to the tried and true because it's too scary to step outside of the known into the unknown. When this energy goes dark, it's all about a singular focus that clutches at the structure or framework that you've built, and there's always an underlying fear that if you let go even a little, then chaos will ensue. Alternately, there can be a push against structures at all costs, where your life is all about missed opportunities because you refuse to conform to some form of stability, no matter how important it may be to the progress of your life. Commitment to anything, including relationships, is avoided at all costs because there's this need to have freedom. Life never really goes anywhere though, because the lack of structure of any kind makes life so fluid that it's impossible to get hold of anything that will last or give you the structure you desperately need and probably inwardly want. When you carry this energy, it can be about taking something completely apart with the idea that you're going to make it so much better, only to get overwhelmed by all the pieces and then give up before you even start to put it back together. It can be too many rules that bind, and soon your creative flow is suffocated and eventually extinguished. When we talk about the highest expression of this energy, we're talking about an infusion of youthful energy into something that's old. So you get the wisdom maintained, but you also get the exuberance of a new way of doing old tasks. Another important part of this energy is the knowledge that you know when something has grown as much as it needs to, and that after that time, it's time to evolve where the inner light can be carried on to something new while retaining the integrity of the original. So to illustrate the energy of the Gate 60, we can talk about 3 ways of being. 1 is an inability to change, 2 is a renovation, and 3 is an obliteration. So for example, you buy a house and you want to redo the inside. So you remove all the things that you don't want, fixtures and parts of the house that you want to get rid of. You're still working within the framework of the structure of the house, yet you are changing the house and taking out the old stuff and making it new. But if you take that same house and you don't want to take anything out of the house, you instead want to reuse what's in the house, without allowing for anything new to go inside, you're fighting against change, and because of this, the results are going to be less satisfying. This is resistance. Completely destroying the house and rebuilding may work in some occasions, but that isn't the way of the Gate 60, which is all about a balance between the old and the new. When you work with the energy effectively, there's an ability to recognize a plan that will give structure, but the structure must also have some level of flexibility. It's a combination of accepting innovation when it works and using the tried and true when it's appropriate. If you carry this energy on the high side, you're always going to be aware of the walls that surround you, but you can also see that there's so much that can be done within those walls. Like a Russian nesting doll, where there's always something new to discover every time you open a new doll. Yet all the dolls are housed within one large doll. It's all about what you don't see within those walls until you do. And then that spark of innovation can grow and those walls around you mutate and they become something else to you. A person can walk by this stump in this image a million times and not think there's anything inside of it. But when it starts to grow, then you realize that there actually is something hidden within it. And from the old comes life, creation, and a new beginning. As I said before, the key with this energy is that because it's root-based, it's all about timing. So when the timing is right, the energy for your creation and manifestation will flow easy. But if we try and push it into reality at the wrong time, it's like a butterfly that's been pulled out of its cocoon. Instead of being allowed the time to emerge exactly when it's supposed to, the butterfly comes out broken. But if you allow the butterfly to emerge at its own time, then the butterfly will come out perfect. All the waiting that it did in its cocoon will be worth the wait, and it will be able to transform into the butterfly it was always meant to be. To see this energy in the real world, we can look at well-renowned soccer or football player David Beckham, who carries this energy. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an expert about the sport because I'm not, but I do know that back in the day when he was playing, there was a whole catchphrase and it was very popular that was all about Beckham, and they would say, "Bend it like Beckham." In fact, there was actually a movie that was inspired from that particular line. So we have a human being who by nature of a physical form is limited. I mean, you have a sport where a ball has to go to a net and you have limits on what parts of your body are allowed to come in contact with the ball. Yet as explained here,
and when David Beckham gets it right, you just don't stop them. That is absolutely unbelievable.
David Beckham worked within these limits, and using the old ways, he added something new to the sport. An interesting fact about this energy is that when you carry it, you can have unique circumstances that encourages you to find ways to work within your limits. Now, if we're looking at rapper Eminem, he grew up in a dysfunctional and abusive home, yet he continued to stoke the inner flame that of his talent inside, his rapping, and eventually became recognized for his talent and skills. Selena Gomez and Sarah Hyland were both given physical challenges as their limits. Selena has lupus and Sarah has kidney issues and has had a transplant, yet they've pushed through their limitations to achieve what they've set out to do. Malone introduced his own type of music that was difficult to categorize. Teal Swan used her experience with being in a cult as a child as a stepping stone to become an inspiration to many people. Dwayne Johnson became a wrestler like his father, but within that career he found another in acting. No one can suggest that life is easy for any of them, yet we can definitely say that they didn't let their limits define them or stop them from achieving their goals and manifesting their dreams into reality. And that, in a nutshell, is the beauty of the high expression of the Gate 60. And when we can see that the energy of limitation is part of the process, the limits can become one of our greatest gifts that we can discover, because they can point in a direction that we may not have looked at had we not had the limitations in the first place. Well, that's all I have for you today, and I'll be back again soon with more videos on human design. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you again soon.